Okay, here we go. And we are live and counting.
From the Time Spent Poorly podcast studio in the Lewiston Clarkson Valley in Idaho, you're listening to the Rosewater Kinetics Fitness Hour with weekly discussions on nutrition.
Mainly consist on stuff like sandwiches and tins of tuna, chicken, something like that, cheese praties from a chain store.
Training.
Just like a bunch of little girls. Again.
Also including phone interviews.
Hello, everyone. I'm from your telephone company.
Poignant conversation. And international liaisons.
Oh my.
And here are your hosts, Mike and Nathan.
Hello! Once again, we are back. We return for another show about fitness. My name's Nathan Betts. This is my cohort, apprentice, and actually, not my apprentice. I guess that makes you my... Oh my god, dude, that makes you my master. That's weird to think about. Apprentice and master, yeah. Anyway, this is Mike Kremiski. This is my cohort in crime.
And I'm just me, man.
Many facets of life. Well, if I'm your apprentice, technically speaking, that makes you the master. And
no labels.
Yeah, apparently not. But that is what's going on.
Yeah.
Nothing weird though.
No.
At least unless it's on a full moon.
Which kind of
bets are off.
Sets it right up for the topic for today.
Sure.
We were gonna first. Let me say this is gonna be the episode when you're probably gonna get tired of us because you got nothing but us today.
Yeah, you're stuck with us today, and you're not only you're stuck with just us today, but you're stuck with us winging it. Where that usually tends to be where our personalities kind of shine a little bit, and we fill in the spaces with a lot of giggles and hibbities and whoos and oohs and ahs and giggling.
Yeah, well, not necessarily winging it. We have a topic that we like to cover, and it bears covering because it's the driving force in everything we do, and that is mental fitness, emotional fitness, the fire inside, the thing that drives you to do the things that you want to do. The reason why it might go out, how they accomplish this in other places, the methods that they use throughout the ages to make us, I don't know, what would you say, men of our words, women of our words for that matter, and to have the strength of our convictions, to do what we're supposed to do. Without making excuses.
Intestinal fortitude, I believe, is one of the ways to put it. Yeah.
Testicular. all of that stuff.
Yeah, that.
Anyways, it occurs to me, if you look back, pretty much throughout the world, man, they would put, like, their male children through, these rites. They would send them out to, you know what I mean, and that's what this is structured to do. This rite of passage to strengthen them mentally, emotionally, to and I think it's having somebody that survived boot camp. It kind of puts it in your mind, man, that at least it's not that bad.
Right. Which is kind of the point of a boot camp.
Yeah,
usually.
I think ultimately that's what pulls the trigger on you as you become a mature human being, is to have experienced something so difficult that everything else kind of pales in comparison to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it makes you tough, man, because it kind of puts you above those around you who haven't done it, because you kind of go through the file cabinet in there and kind of say, well, looky there, God has decided to test our convictions.
Right.
Let's step up. Well, it can't be that bad.
Right.
So you move forward. Everybody else go, oh, he's brave. Look, he just went right out there. And
he just went and jumped right into that water. Didn't even stick a toe in.
Yeah, man, that's tough.
Yeah.
No, he's just going, man, it beats the hell out of that ice water. I had to swim around in for an hour waiting to get picked up. So I think it's a lot of his experience. a lot of it is just your ambient surroundings. That just how comfortable are you?
Yeah.
What kind of need do you put in front of yourself? And I think the more comfortable we are, the less urgency there is in doing things for ourselves.
That are hard. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which brings us to staying fit and taking care of ourselves and choosing the right things to eat and doing things that are fun.
Yeah.
Rather than observing them on a television, observing some fantasy on a TV and trying to get the emotional bang out of that you're not going to get as if you would have done it in real life.
Right.
Like a guy rappelling off of a cliff, you're going to whoa, man, that he's way up there. If you were on that cliff on that rope,
that there's several things that you would have done leading you up to that.
And the next time you're going to,
for it.
When they go, come on, let's jump off this rock into the river, you jump right off. Whoa, he was brave. And he's thinking to himself, at least I ain't hanging off a rope on the edge of that cliff, man.
Yeah, clinging to dear life. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's necessary in our lives.
Well, I think there's a lot of things kind of present themselves as you kind of touched on it a second ago. We have so many different cable outlets, so many visual stimuli to encounter on us, not even just a daily basis, but on an hour-by-hour basis. We could be in the middle of our workday and be like, I wonder what it's like to go skydiving. Type into YouTube, some dude attached some GoPro to his face, and you can go skydiving from your chair at work. Like, you can literally experience that experience for the duration of it without having to leave. You could be, on the clock, so to speak, and experience these things. A lot of it kind of takes place on our phones now, and we're like, oh, and everybody's doing this, going, oh my God, that's amazing. But a lot of things don't necessarily present themselves in such a way to where you have to get out of your comfort zone, make yourself get up. It's an easy comparison to make, but think about the people that made this country what it was. Like the people that were over there on the East Coast, and they're like, hey, I wonder what that's over there on that West Coast. They say there's another whole coast over there. Somebody should go check that out.
Lewis and Clark expedition.
Yeah,
that's ball. When you stop and think about, okay, man,
I'm gonna take the next 5 years of my life, screw up everything I know.
We're gonna put together some boats and go upstream.
Yeah,
on the Missouri River.
Why?
Yeah,
because someone said we got to find out.
Why are you here? They said there'd be food. That's my reasoning.
Yeah.
And they did, man. They lived off the land and managed to not only pull it off, but then turn around and come back.
Yeah.
They could have caught a ship.
Oh man, yeah. I would have been like, all right, on X amount of days, I need someone to stop by and pick me up because I'm not making this trip back. No, they made that damn trip back too.
Yep.
Oh,
but that was downstream, so
that
was a big help.
Yeah. They made the trip that took them 5.5 years.
Yeah, but
they made it in 5.5 months.
but what must it have been like for we're going, in essence, where no man has gone before, no
question
white man
mark.
Anyway.
Yeah, big old question mark.
Yeah, what are we going to run into? Because I'm sure the rumors were flying.
Yeah.
And to mentally overcome that barrier of I better not.
To satisfy. I'm sure there was some sort of monetary compensation that was the initial driving force that might have tipped the scales. At least I know that's what it would have taken for me. But honestly, he might have just had a curiosity that he had to find out. I don't know. He might have been the dude that was just like, oh, ooh, pick me. I'll do this. I'll do that.
Well, and if you think about it, this country is loaded down with people that are that way, pioneers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Outside of the American Indian, the Native American here, everybody's from somewhere else, or at least descendants of.
Yeah,
which means you have that genealogical, that structure,
that coding in your genes too. Yeah.
So, what is it that we recognized as a species that was the need? You know what I mean? To instill this, literally scare it into them, man. Okay, you need to be mentally agile. You need to make right decisions quickly the first time. You need to overcome your fears.
I think I know what
You need to have a drive in your belly to get up and go do this.
I think I know for a majority of it, as far as like the settlers and all of that goes. I believe the phrase "or you will die" was a big driving force of making them do that.
That's compulsory. Yeah, that's a big. Yeah. I'll go along with that. But think about it. In the Orient and stuff, these guys, man, you know what I mean? They train like you have the old Shaolin and all these guys, man. That's all they do is they train day in and day out and hope that they never have to use it. But yet they get up,
and that's kind of their job.
Yeah, what is in them that makes them do this year after year after year? What is that driving force? Because it'd be so easy to just go, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I've achieved. Look what I've done for the last 12 years. I'm good.
Why am I here when I could be at the theater?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe a lot of that was there wasn't a lot of as many things to do now, or as there is now. But I guess I think one of the things is now that there is so much to do. We're saturated with information. We're saturated with overstimulation. Everything that we can possibly put our minds to isn't just to satisfy some, visual or physical necessity. It's always bang, 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 always in your face. We can't just make movies that are great. We have to make movies that blow our minds. We can't just go and have good food. We have to have food that just ruins you and for eternity, because this thing you tasted was so good that you'll never taste anything as good. Like, we're so obsessed as a culture these days with extremes to make, here's the mark, and then here's where everybody shoots for, and people achieve it and don't achieve it, depending on your opinions and whatnot. But like Vegas, for instance, how does one go to Vegas and not come home and just go, I cannot stand to be advertised to one more time. I cannot stand to, like, there's a certain saturation level where there's just too much. And I think one thing that we always try to talk about around here is doing a little bit less. If everybody expects this much out of you every day, as far as like, you need to go do this and this and this and this, and you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to do this. Maybe just take a look at your schedule and be like, well, do I really need to be doing all of these things? Do I really have to be doing, like, is this making me the person that I am to be at all of these things? I just think it's important to, in the age where there's so much saturation with everything we do, I think it's always important to just sit back and relax for a little while. And I think that's a big key to mental stimulation and mental resolve and fortitude these days, is to know when enough is enough. I think that's something that a lot of people are having a hard time with. When to hit the unplug button and let yourself just kind of relax.
I agree with knowing when enough is enough, but I think also too many people now don't have the strength of their convictions. You know what I mean? They don't have the intestinal fortitude to speak up when they should speak up. Yeah. To intervene in a squabble when it should be intervened, and when it didn't used to be that way. Yeah. You know what I mean? They get so immersed in, once again, the fantasy world that we're all living in.
Everybody's starting to kind of pull into.
I don't mind doing it with a joystick, but sure. I'm not going to go, hey, I could get punched in the face or something.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
something could seriously happen.
And if you don't, that person might be beaten senseless or worse. Yeah. And you could literally diffuse that if you would just
have done what you could have had the tools to do.
And what gets me is you get these people that I'm training to do this and I'm training to do that, and then they'll turn and walk away.
What exactly are you training for? The physical appearance?
What is it you wanting to do with this? Yeah. Is it just vanity, or are you trying to be a better human being? Right. I think there's a lot of misconceptions when people start doing, and if you're doing it for vanity, there's nothing wrong with that. Sure. But don't pretend that you're not.
Yes, yeah, be honest about it. Yeah. Like,
And
I like the way I look when I have, bulging shoulders and big old triceps and biceps. And I probably am not going to, step up when called upon. Cool, that's good. Just make sure that that's something that's known about you or whatever. But I think everybody, when faced with a difficult choice in a difficult situation, there are those people that rise to an occasion where they didn't know they had that in them.
You know what? And I've seen it quite a few times, actually, where people did things and then turned around and went, man, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Or it starts off...
Because apparently you never tried.
Right. Or it starts off as I want to do this because I think I look good with big old biceps and bulging shoulders or whatever. And they kind of do the whole walking around thing or whatever it is. And it kind of starts off as a vanity thing, and then the situation arises and everybody expects that person. They're like, well, look at him. It's all for show. And then that person goes and does something fantastic and really surprises you. So we're all always aware that there's always exceptions that prove rules, and there's always exceptions to people that, it's not always...
Oh, certainly.
Not always just a vanity thing. It's not always just a
things are not carbon copies.
Thing.
Yeah. But where my curiosity lies is I wish I had like 100 people in front of me and you could question what is it that drives you?
Yeah.
What is your formula? That where do you get this strength from? And I know some people are spiritual, some are very religious in this faith or that, and they give themselves to it and they draw strength from it, knowing that that basically they're covered. And then there's others who are not so much.
Sure.
Well, yet they still have the same kind of drive.
Yeah.
So I mean, what is the mechanism? Where do people get this fire from?
Yeah. Well, there's not 100 of us, but there are 2 of us. What drives you, Mike?
You know what? Mine is really simple, man. I want to feel good and I want to do stuff. My whole life I've spent traveling and doing stuff. I like, in order to live an extraordinary life, you have to do extraordinary things.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Sure.
And I like going out and doing stuff.
Yeah.
Not as young as I used to be, so I got to kind of work at it now. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it takes a little extra effort.
And I've done the lay around thing, and I've done the try and be healthy thing, and the try and be healthy thing is much more rewarding.
Yeah.
Than the lay around thing.
Also much more difficult too. It requires
but there's
planning and effort and all kinds of
life worth having that wasn't difficult to obtain.
Yeah.
And that's where that driving force comes in.
Yeah.
The little mind, the little voice in your mind that keeps going, come on, you can do that.
Do
okay.
it. Do it.
Do it. You did 5 more reps yesterday.
Do it. Go on. Go get it. Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And the reason why I pressed you on it is because it just seems like, since it is so easy to just think, oh, it's too hard, it's out of grasp. Look at that person. They have 2 ounces of body fat on them. I am more than half body fat. That's way too much. That's way too difficult. That's way too. Instantly with the self-deprecating. Instantly with the self.
Talk themselves out of it.
Yeah. This.
I'm just gonna go play a video game.
Yeah, because it's easy. Because all you got to do is literally just pick up and start doing this.
Yeah.
And just because it's easier doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's best for you. And that's one thing that we always try to say while on this show as well, is it's not just something that we like to say, get up off the couch and go do something. We actually mean, like, if you have X amount of free time this weekend and you plan on blowing through, say you've got 20 hours of free time this weekend. We don't mean, go do something for like an hour and then feel good about yourself. No, we mean like go plan an adventure. Go take like 18 of those 20 hours of free time and go get lost in the woods, or go exploring, or go do this thing or go do that thing. Get yourself motivated to be a doer instead of a sitter.
Kayaks are cheap.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot.
I'm just saying, there's things that most people don't think about that they would probably enjoy if they would just go.
You reminded me of something that I haven't toyed around with since I was a kid in junior high school. My brother had one. It was bright pink. They're called an aerobie disc. They made discs and they made triangles, and they were the hardest thing to ever, I don't know, they were supposed to be boomerangs, but they never worked. They just got stuck in trees. But the Aerobie disc, Mike was saying, you ever heard of an Aerobie? I'm like, yeah, I have actually. And I hadn't thought of one in 20 years, and he went and he's found one at a garage sale, and we're going to dork around with that either this weekend or
next.
next.
My ass. I went up to Moscow to Tri-Cities up there and found it on the shelf.
Oh, you found it at the store. I thought you said you got it at a garage sale.
No.
Wow.
That was after the garage sale. And you should see the looks I get, man. This gray-haired guy comes up with an Aerobie.
Yeah.
Hey, this is so cool. I used to have one of these.
Yeah, I literally haven't thought about one since
For
the
those
90s.
of you that don't know, it's just a ring, but it's like
about this
the
big.
farthest
hand-thrown object on Earth.
Yeah.
And you can throw one from one side of the football field to the other. Like, that's the length that you can play Frisbee with this thing.
Yeah, and the reason I got it was because...
to make cardio fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Sure.
You know, because if you miss it, you're chasing
you're running.
it, man,
yeah,
'cause it's gonna keep.
It's
going.
gonna keep going. That
And
thing
you
is
gotta
like
go
throwing.
get it.
That's like the theory of what you could do of throwing a ball in space, and it just keeps on going. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah,
you're,
it just
you're
keeps.
like, wait, come back. Oh, damn it! I'm gonna go walking for a while.
So yeah, you got to sprint to catch it and get in the way of it, man. Or you're taking a walk.
Yeah. So
I just thought it'd be, fun rather.
And
than,
I'm excited that it's bright green instead of bright pink, because that was the only one that my brother could find, was this ugly bright pink one. But it makes it easy to find when you lose it, because they get lost
it
easily.
needs to be. That's what happened to the one I had, because I got it when I had kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I lived in a farm house that was up on a hill, and there was this big old wheat field out in front. And I was telling one of my kids, Randy, go out there. I got this disc.
Yeah.
And he goes out all the ways. I go, no, go. And he stopped. Go, man. And he's shaking his head. You can't throw that this far. I said, go.
Trust me.
And I flung this thing off, and everybody was agape because it just kept going.
Just
man.
doesn't
and
stop.
Went over his head and kept going, man. And they got it and started playing with it. And he says, well, throw it to me off the porch again like you did that one time, Dad. Okay. And I flung it, and it went out into the field, and we never found it again, because it went way out in the field, And it was in that wheat stubble. And I just assume it got tilled under.
Sure. Some future generation digging it up.
So when I saw one hanging on the wall in there in the store, I went, whoa.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I need this.
I haven't even thought about one of those in forever. That's fantastic. I'm excited to go out. So remember something that you did back in the 90s, if you were even alive yet and listening. I'm sure at least half of our listeners were alive in the 90s. I was a very young buck in the 90s, but I was alive in the 90s. So yeah, if you've done something before and enjoyed it, and you just can't convince yourself to get up off the couch, just make a mental plan of deciding, okay, these are the things I need. This is who I want to invite to go do this. This is how long it's going to take. This is what it's going to take to get there. This is the equipment I need to go do said activity. Plan it and go do it. That's the only thing that we've been trying to say to you for the last 6 episodes, this being our 7th. So
do you ever
get up and do something?
You ever notice how much easier things are to do the second time?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's getting over that first.
Yeah. Or getting past the first week of it, if it's something that you do on a repetitive thing, like the first week of
going camping
fitness.
on the river, you're sleeping on the rocks. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need something soft to sleep on next time. That mosquito repellent's a great idea.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Would like to have something to keep this rain off me.
Yeah, the second time is always much more enjoyable than the first, and
Absolutely.
easier. Just goes to show you just got to do it one time.
Yeah.
And then you know.
Yeah. And
I don't understand what this fear is these days of people. Hey, let's go have an adventure.
Yeah.
Where are you going again?
It's a hesitation, and I'm guilty of it just as much as anyone. I don't like to get out of my comfort zone if I don't have to. I'll admit that right now. I don't like to be uncomfortable, especially when it comes to toilet situations. I found out
bring an extra pair of socks.
Yeah, I found out very rapidly.
Trip 2.
I found out very rapidly that I don't really particularly care for taking care of business out in the wide open spaces. That's something that a lot of people probably don't really care for, but I sure did not like that.
Don't bother me.
It's not my thing.
Point and shoot.
Might have been the way in which I went about it, but I also, if you want to hear it explained, go back through some of the things on timespentpoorly.com. Another show that I do with my buddy Derek, we were talking about fear. Basically, we're talking about our fear of going camping, and I explain in graphic detail the way I went about having to go to the bathroom on this trip, and it was a process, and it did not go well. So if you want to hear that explained in detail, you can go to timespentpoorly.com and look up Time Spent Poorly podcast with me and my buddy Derek, and there's some funny camping stories of why me and him don't particularly care for camping and.
Me, I'm just the opposite. I like going in the woods for a week at a time, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm still not that type of person yet.
I like it, man, because you're getting all kinds of exercise, but it's the kind of exercise you like to do. You want to see what's over this hill?
Yeah.
What's that? Hey, look at what kind of critters are those? That looks like a good fishing place. We can make that,
Yeah, me and my dad went this last weekend for Memorial Day. I went and helped my dad move some stuff from our family cabin down to Lewiston, where we live. And this is on Little Bitterroot Lake up in Montana. And he's like, hey, you want to go for a walk up to the top of the driveway? And we were just going to go up to the top of the driveway and look at the pins that mark off property lines and whatnot. We're just going to look for. He's still not quite certain which one is his on the when you're facing the property on the left side. He's like, I'm not sure if it's this one, or I'm not really sure if it's this one. So we're just sitting there talking about property lines or whatever. He's like, hey, let's go walk down this way a little bit and see if we can maybe look at what other people have, and so that led to walking down 2 more lots, and then 2 more lots turned into 4 more lots, and then 4 more lots turned in around the corner, and then around the corner turned into, hey, this property's for sale. I wonder what's back there. Well, it couldn't be too far. Let's go check it out. Next thing you know, we'd probably walked back from the road into the deep woods about a quarter of a mile, if not farther. And then the road kept on going, and then the road splits, and then we're like, well, which one should we take? And one of us looks this way, and one of us looks this way, and we'd make a determination. Let's take
the one without the bear.
Well, we actually decided, let's take the one that doesn't go uphill like this, that only goes uphill like this. So we ended up going left with a way less incline, and then next thing you knew, we were deep in the woods, and we were gone for probably 2.5 hours. And we had the dog with us, and she was chasing all kinds of game around and fowl out of trees and stuff. And next thing you know, we'd been gone for 2.5 hours, and each of us had scrapes all over our legs and shoes full of grass and rocks and dirt, and
had a ball.
Had to come back down this really, really steep hill. And yeah, next thing you knew, we had a really great little adventure, just all from, hey, what's at the top of the driveway real quick.
Yeah, I love camping just for that reason.
Yeah.
And the hunting season's coming up, and that's nothing but a glorified camping trip.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're just packing around rifles and looking for stuff.
Camping trip with firearms and a goal in mind. It
always makes me giggle because people be sitting in camp and where's so and so? I think he's up there hunting that hill, and here, come from everybody goes, oh.
Did he get it or not?
Yeah. Let's go. We better go check it out.
So yeah. Next time you're driving around and you're just dorking around and you got time to spare or whatever, and you drive past something, go check it out. Hop out of your car. Go get lost for 10-20 minutes. I mean, don't get lost. That sucks. But I mean, like, go exploring or something. Go check out something and have a little fun, little impromptu. Like neither one of my dad and I weren't prepared for this. We just had on the clothes that we got on that morning. We didn't have any gear, so to speak. We found some walking sticks, and I happened to have my pocket knife in my pocket, and so we grabbed my pocket knife and carved these walking sticks that we had, comfortable enough just on this little handle part to hold on to them. Turns out that was a really good idea, because when we were coming down that really steep cliff, we would have been screwed without those. So, just have a little fun impromptu adventures like that. Just because you don't have a bottle of water and a granola bar and the latest high tech camping gear and hiking gear and all that crap, just go get lost for 10-20 minutes. See what you find. It'll be cool. It's fun.
10, 20 minutes normally turns into 3 or 4 or 5
Sure.
hours.
Sure.
Come back and it's always the same thing. Man, I'm hungry.
Yeah, my mom. We left my mom at 8:30. We're like, all right, well, we're going to the top of the road. We'll be back 2 hours later. She's like, where the hell were you guys? So
Farting around.
yeah. So
But anyways, to kind of get back to what we were talking about there, my issue with understanding why people don't like to do that these days.
it's still the answer to that eludes me. I'm not sure what it is.
And how do you try to light that fire for them to come on, just try, because if they come out and try it, they're gonna.
They'll enjoy themselves.
Oh man, I didn't know it was gonna be like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you could quell some sort of whatever reservations they might be readily willing to admit, like if you could just throw out little things like, it'll be, it'll just be, if it sucks, we can come back, or, give them that little caveat or an out, or just give me 45 minutes. If you're miserable and 45 minutes into it, we'll come right back. I don't know what it is, but when I'm faced with that, the first thing is that I think of is, am I going to have to go to the bathroom out in the wild, or am I going to have to go do something I don't want to do? Am I going to be faced with doing something that I don't really like? Like, am I going to have to go and, am I going to be required to run? Am I going to be required to do a bunch of heavy lifting? Am I going to have to do this? Am I going to have to do that? And I think it's just making sure that you're not going to have to be faced with physical activity, I think, is what it boils down to. Am I going to have to go do something that's going to wear me out? So
then the case could be made for, we need to start putting our young people through these rites of passage again.
I think so. Yeah. Well, yeah, because before I started swinging my clubs, and before I started making them, because I started making them before I started swinging them pretty regularly, I'd swing them around a little bit, but then I determined that I'm going to learn how to do this. So before that all happened, and then before starting working out in the shop on these things, I would come home from work and I'd sit around and watch TV till I'd make dinner, and then plop down in front of the TV while I ate dinner. I'd tell myself, I'm going to watch some TV while I eat dinner, and then I'm going to go do fill in the blank. 10 o'clock would roll around. Crap, I got to go get to work. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to make some dinner, watch a little TV while I make dinner, and then I'm going to do blank. And then that would come by. 10 o'clock would roll around. I watched TV all night. Dang it. So I think one of the biggest helps that I noticed was when we moved into our new house 6 months ago, we actually canceled all of our dish and all of our anything that is actual TV coming into the house.
You clip the feed.
The only thing we have is Netflix, and we've convinced ourselves to only watch Netflix on the weekends. And I have a podcast about movies. So we do we assign homework movies. So every once in a while I have to catch a homework movie during the week or whatever. But other than that, I usually relegated all of my recreational TV watching to the weekends. I watch TV on Fridays and Saturday nights, sometimes on Sunday nights, but usually Fridays and Saturday nights. The TV will come on, and something on Netflix that we've been waiting to watch comes on. And I've found that turning off the TV, or rather not even having the option for TV, frees up a lot of time. It's amazing how much of a time waster that damn TV is. Yeah, it really is.
I'm guilty of TV. I do coffee over the news in the morning, so I kind of keep up with what's going on in the world. Then it goes off.
Yeah,
and I go out. I work all day on making clubs.
Sure.
And stuff, and I listen to music while I'm doing it because it helps me move along. You know what I mean? And, then I come in and it's a short dose of news again, and then when the old lady comes home, we sit and talk usually, and then it'll be Sons of Anarchy on Tuesday after this Tuesday, because my old lady is not going to miss that.
Right. Final season all too. Yeah.
Well, we can put that to bed.
Well, and see, that's just the thing is, like, I don't watch a lot of regular television, but there's enough access to different outlets that I still know what's going on in the world. Like, I'm still aware that the Sons of Anarchy are in their last season. I'm still aware that Jimmy Fallon has now replaced Jay Leno. Like, I'm not completely out of the loop. I just have to do a little bit of extra work to get there to keep up with everyone. And I also find that I don't have useless information bouncing around in my head anymore. Like, I don't give a crap about who won American Idol. I don't give a crap about all these other, I don't give a crap about these things.
I never watch that kind of stuff.
I don't know why. It seems to be geared towards women, and then their women pull their men into it somehow. I watched I don't know how many seasons of American Idol and didn't care.
I don't know that I've
about
ever
any
watched
of
one.
it. I probably watched 4 or 5 seasons of it, and
I don't watch anything like that.
Couldn't remember. I will tell you though that one contest show that I am obsessed with because it has to do with physical fitness. You would love American Ninja Warrior if you can get a hold of that on Hulu, or if you can get a hold of that. American Ninja Warrior is awesome. It's like a reality competition style show, but they're going through all these different fitness challenges, and it is amazing. You would love it. You'd be addicted to it very, very quickly. But that kind of stuff is really cool though, because it's watching people doing amazing feats of physical strength and ability and agility, and it's just really fascinating. And so it kind of lends itself to club swinging. And honestly, if we could get our hands on even half of the people that are competing in this American Ninja Warrior stuff and put some clubs in their hands, I bet you they'd do a lot better than they do. Because a lot of the feats that they have to do requires tough physical upper body strength, like holding on to things that they can barely hold on to and pushing off of like walls and stuff that are really slick, and doing the spider crawl crap. I think you'd really like it, dude. I think you'd really be. I tend
to watch things that I can gather knowledge from. I'm a big documentary.
Yeah.
Kind of the informational stuff.
If you get a chance, just do me a favor and watch at least one episode of American Ninja Warrior and see if you like it or not.
I'll pay you that respect. I'll check it out.
I think you would like it just because of it.
American Ninja Warrior.
American Ninja Warrior, and it's basically a fitness competition that you get to watch. So it has all to do with fitness, and there's people that are on there that talk all different kinds of fitness training and whatnot.
So write into rkfitnesshour@gmail.com and give me your opinion on whether you think I should watch American Ninja Warrior.
You'll want to watch it. I bet you half the people that are watching this right now are shouting at their thing right now. Yes, you're gonna love it. And I bet you.
How do you don't know? How you don't know that they're not sitting there going, dude, don't fall for it.
No, it's good.
It'll suck you in, man.
Good. It's one that's worth getting sucked into.
It's a vortex of hell that you don't want to mess with.
I bet you Melody Schoenfield would do great at it. I bet you she would be awesome at it. Yeah. So.
Well, you ought to field that to her.
We should.
Have you ever considered American Ninja Warrior?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was looking around. Mike was saying that we didn't have a guest for today. Our plans kind of fell through with who we were planning on, and he said, "Why don't we talk about a little about mental toughness or mental fitness or whatever?" So I just typed into Google mental fitness training and just kind of see what came up, and a men's fitness article came up. And I thought it might be good to maybe close out with maybe reading the article and then discussing it as we read through it. It's a little bit lengthy, but there's some information in it that might be good. I only had a chance to kind of speed read it before we started the episode, but there's some bullet points that I glanced over that looked like they might be worth at least mentioning for a little bit. But just to get into the article, it is written by Sean Heisen, and I'm not sure what CSCS means, but I'm assuming that's some sort of clinician of some sort, maybe. But hopefully he knows what he's talking about. So this is mental toughness training as presented by Men's Fitness. It's your last line of defense against being called a candy ass. It can help you compensate for a lack of strength, skill, or natural ability. Arnold talked about it in Pumping Iron. You just go on and say, I don't care what happens. And a flu-stricken Michael Jordan exemplified it in 1997 NBA Finals by hitting the Game 5 winning shot after nearly collapsing with exhaustion. It's what triathletes need to survive the last mile of an Ironman contest, and it often means the ultimate difference between success and failure. We all know what it is, whether you call it guts, will, or balls. It's mental toughness. The question is, how do we get it? Most of the information surrounding the notion of mental toughness is anecdotal, not clinical. But Men's Fitness did some research and picked the brains of some of the toughest folks we know, asking them what it takes to focus in on, push through, and outlast every obstacle in your path, whether it's inside the gym or out. Read on, and you may never feel like quitting again, whether it's on a set, in a game, or on the job. In the broadest sense, mental toughness can be defined as the ability to maintain the focus and determination to complete a course of action despite difficulty or consequences, to never quit, period. To many athletes and coaches, it's an intimate quality that can't be trained. Mental toughness is usually something you're born with or develop very early in life due to your surroundings, says Jason Ferregia, a performance enhancement coach who's trained top athletes for more than 20 different sports. It's hard to take a wuss and make him into a hardcore, no matter what you do, unless you throw him into prison. Still, it's fair to assume that anyone can improve his tolerance, patience, and concentration, just as anyone can get bigger, leaner, or better educated. First bullet point, be a self-starter. The root of mental toughness lies in motivation.
That's kind of what we were just talking about.
I think so.
You know, where do you get that?
Yeah. Those who are deemed mentally tough typically exhibit what sports psychologists call intrinsic motivation. A study featured in Psychology of Motor Behavior in Sport defines this desire as to be self-determining. People who are intrinsically motivated are self-starters, willing to push themselves to the brink for the love of the sport or activity. They need little encouragement to give their best effort, and they often do well with setting goals for themselves. Needless to say, this doesn't describe all of us. Some guys can only get their head in the game when the pressure of competition is on. They revel in the chance to compare themselves with others. These guys have what's called achievement motivation. According to the Essentials of Strength and Conditioning, the main tome of the National Strength and Conditioning Association, all things being equal between two competitors, whoever is higher in achievement motivation will be the better athlete, hands down. That was kind of a weird sentence, but basically whoever thinks that they're going to do better will do better. Calling a person who's motivated to avoid failure Calling a person who's motivated to avoid failure a panty waist if he doesn't get 10 reps in on his next set of squats makes him feel like his manhood is under attack. Excuse me, I got to get to the next page here real quick. Under the umbrella of achievement motivation are two opposing mentalities that can drive a person to be tough. Both exist in all people, but you're more likely to lean toward one or the other. Those who are dominated by the motivation to succeed are, predictably, people who gather their energies best when they feel a great opportunity lies ahead for them. Even if the probability of that success seems uncertain, they believe if they bust their butts, they can achieve it. The flip side of that is known as the motivation to avoid failure. I think that might be kind of how I'm driven, is to avoid failure. I've got to succeed because I can't fail. I think that's kind of more like me. The flip side is the motivation to avoid failure. These folks only get going in response to challenges that threaten their egos. Calling a person who's motivated to avoid failure a panty waist if he doesn't get 10 reps in on his next set of squats makes him feel his manhood is under attack and that he'd better prove his detractor wrong or suffer humiliation. Knowing this, it makes sense that men who focus situations in... Sorry, let's try that again. Knowing this, it makes sense that men who focus situations in which success seems easy to achieve. If this task seems uncomplicated, their own confidence is high. But if an obstacle is perceived as an extreme challenge, they're just as likely to cop out, believing there is no way they could overcome it. Does it sound familiar? Understanding which of these two traits is more dominant in your personality is the key to helping you train yourself to become tougher and endure more. Most coaches report that the players who are motivated by success don't need as much instruction or cajoling when the chips are down in a game. That they see it as an opportunity to turn things around and be the heroes. However, players whose focus on avoiding failure needs that direction. They need to be told what to do so they'll feel they can react correctly to when backed into a corner. Otherwise, they'll be convinced they don't have a chance. Do you feel like you know which one of those two you might be there, Mike?
I think I'm a self-starter, man. I pretty much get up and go, okay, this is what, you know.
I think I'm a little bit of a mixture of both, because I think overall I like to try to achieve something because I'm afraid of failing at it. I think one of the reasons why I think I could probably dissect, for instance, I got engaged in 2008 and I did not get married until 2012. One of the main factors of the 4-year engagement was I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of failure. I didn't want to be the only person in my family that's gotten a divorce yet. So therefore I was like, maybe if I just don't get married yet, I can't fail at it. So, you know, I was driven by the avoidance of failure. Whether that's true or realistic or whatever, that was my perception of it at the time, and that's the only thing I could think of right off the top of my head. But I think a lot of the things that I choose to do, the way I kind of plan things out, is I want to do so good at it and get that wow factor, because I don't want to get the opposite. I don't want people to look at what I've done and be like, meh, and set it back down. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big motivator for me, is the avoidance of failure.
That brings this to mind too, and I've noticed this over my lifetime, that there's basically two kinds of people in an emergency situation or something like that. Mm-hmm. You have the person that panics on the spot.
Me.
Or you have the person that deals with it all and then falls apart after it's over.
Yes.
I'm the second one.
Yeah.
My friends have always said, man, how do you do that? You make snap decisions. You know. Well, I kind of attribute that to when I was in the service, because
they beat it into you.
Well, you're geared towards that. I mean, it could literally mean survival.
Yeah.
So you get accustomed to that kind of thinking, and I've seen it where I don't know what to do. Okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to and you start directing, and you start, you know, and then when it's all over and everything's calmed down, your hands start shaking.
All the adrenaline catches up with you.
What's the matter? I'll be fine. Just leave me alone for a few minutes.
Let me ride this out.
Because now you're running everything that happened through your mind, and you know, and boy, if I'd have called that wrong, what would have happened? If I'd have called that wrong, what would have happened? You know, and ultimately, it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah. True.
It's done.
Yeah.
But that's not what your brain's
But
telling
yeah, well, I mean, it's all got to get processed somehow, whether now or later. So, next bullet point: find your zone. Consider this: world-class endurance athletes respond to the stress of a race with a reduction in brainwave activity that's similar to meditation, says Rachel Cosgrove, a CSCS, which I guess must be some sort of doctor of something, I'm assuming. I still would like to know what a CSCS is. A strength and conditioning coach and triathlete. The average person responds to race stress with an increase in brainwave activity that borders on panic. This is a prime example of how getting into the zone athletes talk about, the cool-headed state that allows a person... That is a really weird way of wording that. I'm sorry. To perform optimally, even under high pressure conditions, can make all the difference in your performance. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to read that poorly. Achieving this state and holding on to it despite distractions, pain, and your own instincts to give in for the sake of self-preservation is the essence of mental toughness. The best athletes train their brains to be as tough as their bodies using techniques like these. For instance, you've got be positive. Every day there's a dialogue going on in your mind, says Cosgrove. These thoughts are usually a mixture of outside stimuli and your own beliefs about yourself. Some will be negative, but to be successful, you must focus on the ones that make you feel better about yourself. It sounds like corny advice, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a successful person who doesn't practice it. If you even think you can't finish a marathon, says Cosgrove, you can't. An easy way to stay in a positive frame of mind is to create a mission statement that gets you pumped up. Take the time to consider your reason for running a marathon, competing in a particular contest, gaining 10 pounds of muscle, or whatever your goal is. If you have a powerful reason why, you can get through anything, says Cosgrove. Make this why your mission statement and repeat it to yourself during your training. Anytime you catch yourself slacking, question your motivation, or feeling like you want to quit, repeat your mission statement. Next, talk to yourself. You should be your own coach. Speak to yourself in the second person with statements such as, you're going to give this everything you have, says Cosgrove. It can stimulate the extra bit of motivation and reach a coach. Sorry, I'll try that again. It can stimulate the extra bit of motivation a real coach would provide. It also allows you to control what kind of encouragement your coach, in quotes, gives you. As discussed above, you may respond better to one kind of advice than another. Learn to talk positive to yourself when the going gets tough. Takes practice, says Cosgrove, but you'll get better at it. Then, on race day or whatever particular challenge is, you'll be able to talk yourself into a second wind. So, I think that's one thing that I have a hard time with is instead of talking positively to myself, I am my own worst critic, and I'm always, instead of like, hey, try this better or do this, I'm always focused on, wow, what a crappy, or oh, why did you do that, or so try to focus in on the positive things, and I think you'll find yourself doing a lot better.
I think I do all of that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I need to train myself.
When I'm walking up them hills, I'm talking to myself constantly.
Yeah. Yeah,
dude, you know what, man? You did this fine yesterday. What makes you even? Why isn't it even entering in your mind to stop? Now you're thinking of excuses when you stop. Just get that out.
Yeah, get it out. You know what I mean? Next, visualize before you even step under the bar for a squat or pick up a dumbbell, says Joe Stankowiski. Stankowiski, a former powerlifting and strongman competitor. Your set should be mentally done. So before you even start, you should mentally have done it already, says this former powerlifter. Imagine the steps you'll take to get into position and the way your body will look performing the movement, and rehearse each repetition in your mind. Think about how all of that will feel to you because it's already been done in your mind, says Stankowiski. All you have to do is repeat it with your body. I like to think of myself as the underdog, says Ferreira, who avoided failure by competing in an impromptu lifting competitions with his pro athlete clients, often beating them. I think of the shame I feel for lifting my partners if my lifting partner outdoes me. When that's not enough, I picture him threatening my family. Oh, that's dark. And if I don't lift this weight for the required reps, he will act upon those threats. Good Lord, that's a little extreme, but hey, whatever works for you. Next point, meditate. Various forms of meditation have been used for thousands of years for almost any purpose you can fathom, including reduction of stress, enhanced mental clarity, and simple relaxation. But if you don't have to get all new agey to make it work. You don't have to get all new agey to make it work. Skip the candles and the Enya tunes and instead just focus on clearing your mind of extraneous thoughts and mentally preparing yourself for the upcoming contest or confrontation. Quote, one of the biggest challenges guys have when they start meditating is knowing if they're doing it correctly, says Stankowiski. In some instances, you may feel you just can't concentrate well enough to get into a meditative state. In that case, check out the meditation technique offered by centerpoint.com, which will start you off with a free demo CD. Their technology uses some sound to provide the exact stimulus your brain needs to go into meditation, says Stankowiski. You will feel calmer in minutes. Next point, get uncomfortable. You can't settle into a routine and expect to make progress. If you're trying to be a tougher runner, then a couple of times a month you need to practice running a little bit longer or faster than you're used to. These workouts should be at random. Put your running shoes on one day and decide you're going to take it to the limit. The same logic applies when you're in the weight room and in life in general. Take acting lessons, go skydiving, learn to tango, says Stankowiski. Just as a progression is an important part of training, applying any challenging stimulus to your life will give you a greater ability to handle stress and handle stress of all kinds. It teaches you problem-solving skills and critical thinking, both of which can help you tough out any number of situations. And the last bullet point: be prepared. Endurance athletes have said nothing new on race day. Meaning, if you've prepared yourself for everything, you'll be ready for anything. You should know well ahead of a race what you're going to eat, where, even think about that day. Naturally, you can't be prepared for every eventuality, but try to be anyway. Anticipate any problems that could arise and have a solution in mind. During a triathlon, these could include flat bicycle tires, getting your goggles knocked off during the swim, or getting blisters on your feet. Knowing you've done everything possible to get to your goal will help you mentally, says Cosgrove. When it comes to the event you're training for, you can go into it with a peace of mind, and once you've done that, you'll be surprised of just how far you can go. I think there's a couple of good things going on there, and it sounds like that's exactly what Mike was trained to do in the Army service. So, Marine Corps. Sorry, armies are below you. They're
just saying.
Yeah, they're just the grunts below you. Those are a couple of things that I muddled through. If you'd like to read that, just go to mensfitness.com/training/build muscle, and then there's I'll just post a link to it. That'll be quicker. Go to facebook.com/timespentpoorly, and I will copy and paste this link to this article, and you can read it for yourself. If I spoke too unclearly or whatever, I'm not the best reader on the spot, but
I think you did a good job.
Yeah,
you probably run for president. You can read that teleprompter pretty well.
Hooray! So that's my 8 years of radio experience speaking right there. Yeah, if you want to read that over again, if you found some nuggets that you thought were interesting, you want to ponder them more or reread it, I will post the link to this within the comments section on our Facebook page. So facebook.com/Rosewater Kinetics, I believe it is. You can find that there, and we've spoken for an hour. I didn't think we were going to be able to do it today. I thought we were going to go short, but yeah, we talked for an hour again.
Just quickly, I mean, I guess we could summarize this show just saying, to be mentally healthy, mentally tough, mentally up for what you're going to do, mentally up for your life, mentally up for what you're doing during the day. That is every bit, if not more important than the physical aspect of it. Because if your mind cannot drive you to go out and do the things you want to do, what's the sense in being physically up for it if you're just not going to do it?
Right. Yeah, agreed. So get up off your couch, do whatever it is you got to do. Get ready for the next set. Get ready for the next workout. Get ready for the next triathlon, whatever it is you're getting ready for. Go do it. Go exploring on accident. Do all of those things. Get a shoe full of dirt. Something. You'll enjoy. You'll be happy that you did. You'll be satisfied.
You know what else is a big motivating factor? Go down to your local sports store.
Yeah.
Just start walking through and looking at stuff. And I swear, an ideal hit. Man, I've never been rappelling before. Things will present themselves.
Absolutely. So thank you for listening to us ramble about mental fitness kind of in an impromptu sort of way this time around. We appreciate you guys listening to us. You can find us at timespentpoorly.com. You can find us at youtube.com/timespentpoorly. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us a myriad of different places. We're on Stitcher. You can get us right on your phone.
RK Fitness Hour, did you mention that one?
Yeah, you can get us rkfitnesshour@gmail.com if you want to drop us a line. Tell us what you do to get mentally fit. Encourage Mike to watch American Ninja Warrior because he's going to love it. It's going to bend his brain into thinking that that's something he has to do. But yeah, do all of those things that we've mentioned, and also find us right there on iTunes just by searching for Time Spent Poorly. So, any final thoughts for yourself before we get out of here?
No more thoughts.
Good. No thinking, just doing.
No, yeah, I'm going in that meditative state that they were just talking about.
From now until the next time we talk to you guys, be good to you and yours. I'm on out the door.
Bye. I thought it was kind of cool how most of the points we talked about were covered
Right there in the article, yeah.
Whoa, man. Serendipity.